Hey guys, the time has come. I knew it was coming, but I didn't want to believe that it's going to be here. So, I was telling my ex husband about, what was I telling him? I was telling him about my kids and how they didn't necessarily want to go to their Nigerian babysitter. And he's like, "What are you talking about? My kids are Nigerian. Why wouldn't they want to go to their Nigerian babysitter?" I said, "Yes, they are half Nigerian, half American, African American." And he says, "No, they're Nigerian." And I said, "No, they are half Nigerian, half African American. My people have been on this land since before the Civil War, so let's not even go where we're from. My kids are born here. They're born in the same city that their mom was born in. They're born in the same city that their grandpa was born in. They're born in the same city that their great grandparents met in. Like, they're born here. They're Americans." And he's like, "No, they're Nigerian because I'm a Nigerian." I'm like, "No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works." And I knew this conversation would come eventually. I just thought it might come when they became older. And so here I am trying to argue with this man about my kids. And he's like, "I'm going to buy them land in Nigeria and they're going to marry Nigerians and my son's going to marry a Nigerian because he really cares about his son now, but we're not going to go into that." He's like, "They're going to marry Nigerians and all this stuff and they're going to celebrate the culture." And I'm like, "Dude, first off, I'm not denying their Nigerian culture. I'm simply saying that they're also African American because their mama, who be me, is African American. My people were here on this land in America before the Civil War. And honestly, if we go back far enough, we have some people that are Native Americans, the indigenous of America. So we are really Americans. Like, you want to go all the way back, that's how far back we've been here. So we are clearly American. Now, you came here and your people aren't from here. Your people have all their lineage in Nigeria, or what is now known as Nigeria. And that's cool. But, like, what's that got to do with my babies? So we were talking and talking. I don't want to tell you what caused us to talk about this because we normally don't talk like ever. But that's just how it came about. So I'm thinking like, how do I teach my kids about their history as well as nurture what their father is trying to instill in them? And I don't know. Whenever they come here, because I now have to split time with my kids because of the stupid divorce, but we're not going to go into that. I split time with my kids, and so when they come here, I teach them Igbo, which is their tribal language. I teach them Spanish. I teach them Mandarin. And what else I teach them? I want to say German, but we haven't done German in a while. And I would say Arabic, but we only know how to say a couple words in Arabic. So, either way, I teach them those languages, including Igbo. And I try to teach them the Igbo dances. I've got one of them down. I don't know what it's called. It's like when you bend over and you move your legs. I don't know what it's called, but um, I teach them their culture as well as other cultures, and I teach them about African American history because it's very important. If it weren't for the African Americans here in the U.S., he and his people wouldn't have been able to come here. Simple as that. We are the ones that fought for civil rights, not them. If it weren't for our people, their people wouldn't have been influenced to try to get independence in their country. Um, as well as the fact that he's Igbo. Igbos wouldn't have tried to get independence from Nigeria, even though it didn't. It only worked out for a few years, and then there was a war and everything. But still, if it weren't for our people instilling that in them, they wouldn't have even tried to get independence, let alone fail. So that's just me and my thoughts. I would like my kids to know their African American history. I would like them to know their Nigerian history. I like them to know their Igbo history. But I don't want them to just think they're Nigerian, period, end of discussion, because they're not. And that bothers me, the fact that he says that they are. Because we have very rich history. Now, I may not know it all, but I am discovering slowly but surely. With the climate of things going on in this world, and especially in the U.S., it's very easy to look up our history. It's kind of out there because whenever there's a story of a death or a lynching or something like that, they always reference something that happened beforehand or someone who fought for, a law against this. And so it's very easy to find these things nowadays. And so I'm looking at, I don't want to give all my kids the traumatic history, but sometimes you have to learn about trauma when you're learning about how we got healthy. So that's all I want to share. It's not very long. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it. It just came to my head, and I said, hey, I'm just gonna get it out right now. So, what do you guys think? If you had a child or children that were half Nigerian, how would you teach them about themselves, who they are, and who their ancestors were? How would you go about teaching them?